Spain. Just a bit bigger than California, but extremely diverse. It sits on the Iberian Peninsula, isolated by the Pyrenees, and yet is still very connected to the rest of Europe. Its 5 official languages and 17 autonomous regions have launched so many artistic movements and superstars. Famous artists like Picasso, Dalí, Miró, and Gaudí all called Spain home. With so much diversity in geography, culture, and language, what is it exactly about Spain that fosters so much innovation? I'm Nate, an artist and world traveler who is fascinated by all the places and ways we see creativity. From the old masters to today's graffiti artists, creativity weaves itself through history, and we want to figure out, where is it coming from? From cutting-edge design to the technology that impacts our lives every day. Wherever you see creativity and innovation, I'll be there. That's Artrageous. Small as it is, Spain welcomes more than 82 million tourists each year, making it the second most visited country in the world, with the US a distant third. It's easy to see why. With more than 320 days of sunshine a year, plus mountains and beaches, who wouldn't want to live here? It makes sense that life in Spain happens outdoors.
This is like a painting, like right there.
And Spanish art seems to reflect this. I'm heading to the mountains and caves of northern Spain to see how the geography inspired Antoni Gaudí's masterpiece, La Sagrada Familia. I spent time in the area with Phil Miller, a Scottish mountaineer, ex-microbiologist, and resident donkey expert who made the area his home 20 years ago.
Spain is made up of lots of different little communities, and one of those communities is the Basque Country. I ended up here simply because I love mountains, and I was driving over a pass looking for a place to kind of settle down and find work and stuff like that. And I just thought, wow, I could spend some years here. And 20 years later on, here I am.
It's the mountains, really. That's what catches me. And the culture, I find the culture very welcoming. That ridge, that's the Sierra de Cantabria. And on the other side of that is La Rioja, which is the most important wine region.
That's right. We drove through there.
Yeah, I sent you through that way. It's very pretty.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And the nice thing about this area is that it's got lots of little villages. So although we're only 13 people in our village, there's actually a very good sense of community in this area. It's really nice.
Come on.
Vamos. Tira para allá. Mo.
You've probably explored a ton of this area. Do you feel like you've...
I keep discovering new things here.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Because nowadays, in the wintertime, I go away with the donkeys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just load them up and off we go.
Oh, yeah, this is a view.
Never work with children or animals, they say. So just tie them up here and we'll head on into the cave.
All right, come on. The dog staying back?
Oh, he comes in sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, mind your step here, this first bit.
Immediate temperature change.
Wow, yeah, it's a big contrast. It's quite warm outside, but it's fresh in here.
Yeah, it feels good.
Okay.
All right, I'm following you, so slide down. That was a close one.
Just watch it there because it's a little bit slippy.
Yeah, wet. Okay. Definitely slippy. What am I looking at when we look up here and you see it almost looks like white at the beginning, or where it's dripping, I guess?
It's calcium carbonate which turns into calcite, which is the soluble calcite.
Okay.
Then passes through these things. Actually here you've got some examples of what are called soda straws. The thing with limestone is that it dissolves with water and then it seeps through the pores in the rocks, and then when it comes to a little hole, it drips, and where it drips, the calcium carbonate precipitates and forms a stalactite, or in this case, a stalagmite. They're endlessly fascinating.
So he's coming out here, he's trekking on a horse, coming into caves similar to this one, I'm sure, 'cause same area.
Yeah.
Sagrada Familia, because it does look very organic,
Yeah.
especially the top, almost looks like a stalagmite growing. Yeah. I mean, it seems obvious, but man, when you come in here, you see it like clear as a bell. Like if you spent time in here, it makes sense you got inspired. What gets me is, obviously Barcelona, Madrid, the big cities, super loud, bustling, and then you've got this like organic shape in the middle of just massive city, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's almost like bringing some of nature in, I guess, in a way, but the spires or the towers that they're still continuously working on. When you were pointing out the stalactites, like even how small they are, I mean, it looks exactly like it's just a massive one, obviously, but you see all the texture. I mean, it's weird to see on a church that's not smooth and it's rough and it looks like a cave.
Yeah. And the eggs are from my neighbor's chickens.
Yes.
Over the local specialty Calimocho, red wine mixed with Coke, we chatted about what makes Basque Country so unique.
How many languages are spoken around here? So Spanish, Basque?
In this region, this autonomous region, the official language is Basque, Euskera.
Really?
It's the oldest language in Europe, the oldest living language. Nobody really knows where it comes from. It's not related to Latin at all, and the grammar is not related to Latin at all. You need to make quite a shift in your concept of language. The music is from here. There are musical instruments that are specifically from here. Albocas, chalapartas, all sorts of things. Very ancient music that comes from here, only from here. I think it's very important to preserve diversity. Whether we're talking about the diversity that you find in your garden or in the surrounding countryside. But we are also part of that context. People from Madrid should be celebrating that there's so much cultural diversity in the Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah.
But we don't all necessarily feel Spanish. I certainly don't feel Spanish. I don't necessarily feel Basque. I relate to the Basques because I live here. But
yeah.
Having seen where Gaudi was inspired, I headed to Barcelona to get a closer look at his most famous work, La Sagrada Familia. 140 years after construction started, it's still not finished. Gaudi must have known it was going to take forever. He had a school built on the grounds for the workers' kids. Today, the workers look quite different than they did years ago. Instead of chisels and hammers, La Sagrada Familia's team now works in a design lab with state-of-the-art technology.
This is the remaining or the continuation, the artistic workshop that worked in the old times.
So you have moved from, you see it all in here, clay, sculpture.
Yeah. Still working in plaster, we make molds, silicone molds and all this. But we have added the new technologies of 3D printers.
That's amazing. I love it's old but new.
Yeah.
It's all in one room.
And we are combining because this kind of printers use a material which is very similar to plaster. This one is from the 3D printers.
That's from a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
The process begins in the technical office with the architects, and they make the designs. Obviously, they have the knowledge to of the building, of the history, of the documents. They send an STL file. An STL file is a file translated to the language of the machine,
Wow.
the language, the 3D language. It works like a printer.
Yeah.
Just makes a sheet of powder, and
then another one,
draws and then the machine calculates how many sheets and
just does it. You come in the morning and it's there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's there, but you have to extract.
These pieces are very creative and they look new, like someone just designed it.
Yeah.
But it was so long ago. It still is amazing.
For example, this one is a design from Gaudí.
Is that one thing that's strange, that you can design work here, step outside, and go see it as it's you're back and forth? Wow, thank you so much for giving me just a glimpse of what you are doing down here in this workshop. It is absolutely amazing.
After seeing how the work gets done in miniature, I was excited to get a look at the structure itself.
I would like to show you this facade, Nativity facade, which is the only facade Gaudí saw finished. Take a look at the facade. You can see nature all around. Gaudí always said that God created nature. So when he was building buildings, he wanted to imitate God's creation. He wanted to imitate nature.
Which speaks to the organic. To your point of, he loved nature, being outside. Did a lot of traveling on horseback, I heard, and he would take even inspiration from caves. And I feel like I see so much of that. Well, I gotta admit, the sun's out. I think I'm anxious to go see all that stained glass and color in there. Let's go check it out.
Let's get inside, Nate. As you can see, the first thing that catches your attention when you get inside Sagrada Familia is the amount of natural light. From outside, it looked a dark and a bizarre church.
Like a dark cave.
Yeah, with those dark bell towers and that dark facade. So you do not expect to see this amount of natural light and these colors inside Sagrada Familia. Take a look at the walls. Walls do not support any weight. The weight of the roof, the weight of the bell towers is supported by the columns, not by the walls.
Interesting.
So Gaudí managed to open hundreds of windows and decorated those windows with colored stained glass decoration to allow the natural light in, but at the same time to change the color of the natural light that gets inside Sagrada Familia. This is an organic church. The colors going through the windows, they paint the columns, the roof, depending on the location of the sun. The appearance of the interior of Sagrada Familia changes. From here we have a beautiful view of the central nave of Sagrada Familia. Over there we can see cool colors, blue and green mainly. That side of the church faces east. It gets morning light. Gaudí always said that morning light is a cool light. So he wanted cool colors decorating that side of the church.
Interesting.
That side of the church, you can see warm colors, orange, yellow, and red. It faces west. It gets afternoon light, which Gaudí always said is a warm light.
I think what's great is you get the white light up here, and it comes straight down the middle, and then it's color on both sides. It's incredible.
This building is alive.
Oh yeah, it feels like a kaleidoscope of, I mean, you got the blues right now, oranges in the afternoon. It's just, it's so much to take in. It makes you speechless. If you're not speechless, I don't think you're taking it in.
The roof was not built until 2010. Before 2010, this was an open courtyard. You could see the sky, you could see the clouds from here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Take a look at the columns. Gaudí wanted the interior of Sagrada Familia to look like a forest. Every column is the trunk of a tree. If you follow the trunk of the tree, you'll see the nuts of the tree, the branches emerging from the nuts, and the leaves covering the church.
I mean, you look at that and you would think, somebody designed this, what, 10 years ago? I mean, he was so far ahead of time.
He was way ahead of his time.
It's amazing. Get a real sense, because we can get up just even a little higher, of the symmetry just coming down with those massive tree-like columns. Man, it's beautiful.
We then headed up to the towers in an elevator installed specifically for the Pope to get a bird's eye view of the construction.
Oh wow, look at this view.
There will be 4 bell towers around Jesus' bell tower dedicated to the 4 evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So the bell towers here are going to be way taller than the ones you see here. They're going to be almost twice the height of the ones you see here.
That is incredible.
Let's walk the Passion facade. As you will see, Passion facade is totally different from Nativity facade.
Every single one of their faces, the lines are just so harsh on the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very dynamic.
Yeah, a Cubist facade probably. Jose Maria Subirachs was inspired by the Cubist paintings of Pablo Picasso.
I was gonna say, it's got Cubism written all over it.
It was a big controversial decision to choose that sculpture. Still nowadays, there are a lot of people in Barcelona that say that they don't like this facade. They say it's too modern.
Too modern, interesting.
Sagrada Familia, it's not only a 20th century church, it's also a 21st century church. So I like this facade, and I think this facade balances very well the Nativity facade.
I would agree. There's so much creativity happening in Spain in the past, and you just showed me even just some of the influences from Picasso. I mean, where do you think all that comes from?
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Spain, it's a crisscross of different civilizations, cultures, religions. The Romans came to Spain 2nd century before Christ. Then the Moors came to Spain, the Visigoths, the Jews. Creativity comes from this crisscross melting pot of religions, civilizations, and cultures in a small area. When you think about Spain, 20th century, we have Pablo Picasso, we have John Miró, we have Antonio Gaudí, we have Pablo Casals. Barcelona, also it's a great place for art.
Yeah.
It's a crisscross between culture, this beautiful Mediterranean sun, location only 100 miles south of the French border, a big port.
Melting pot of
melting
creativity.
pot, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I love how the Basilica's bringing it literally all together in many ways. Wow, thanks for the tour. It was amazing.
While Gaudi was dedicating the last years of his life to the Basilica, an eccentric boy was exploring nature in a town just north of Barcelona. He would later become one of the most recognized artistic icons of the 20th century with his killer handlebar mustache. Salvador Dalí was one of 3 children and was named after his brother who died shortly before his birth. His parents were said to have taken young Salvador to his brother's grave, telling him he was the reincarnation of his brother. No pressure. Like many Spanish families, the Dalís had a weekend home. Theirs was in Cadaqués, just east of Figueras. Dalí later moved into the town himself. He brought the nature around him into his home and studio, as I learned from Ana Massobrosa at Dalí's former home.
When they first bought this place, it was in 1929. They would always just spend spring and summertime here until October, more or less, and then they would go to Paris and New York.
Okay, so they come back here, relax, with obviously we're gonna see gorgeous views everywhere. That makes sense, okay.
Relax, but also work.
But also work, okay, all right.
Cadaqués, this area, was his main inspiration at a landscape level, so this is where he would produce. This light, this landscape would inspire him the most, so this was his working place, and then later in the evening he would greet people.
Okay,
but never inside the house. This was his very private space.
Interesting.
That's the Sagrada Familia, and you see other bottles as well. Those are liquor bottles that Dalí and Gala would collect, and they had them there to offer or to have here in the dining area. Dalí loved the kind of organic architecture that Gaudí did. Gaudí, and in general, all Art Nouveau modern style artists.
Yeah.
He appreciated, but Gaudí especially.
I wondered if he might even just have an appreciation, for the organic shapes. Plus, I mean, obviously they both loved color in interesting ways, but wow, that's cool to have that. That's neat. I know he was really proud to be from this area. Where did he get all the influence? I mean, is it creativity something that really, is it something that just always has been here, or he brought it here? I mean, what do you think?
Well, Dalí was born in 1904 in Figueras, and Figueras was a very important cultural center. he had the right context to become a great artist. And many
Right.
people were interested in art in general, yes? So they were creating and creating and creating.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and then here in Cadaqués, whenever he would come with his family, because they had a summer house, yes?
Right.
He met other artists, so he would interact. Okay, so now we're coming out in this inner courtyard
Which is, oh, it's beautiful out here.
that Dali designed, and here in front of us we see these walls. They would be protected from this very strong wind that's
Yeah, you
blowing.
feel it. You probably hear it too. Yeah, yeah. It's very strong.
You see this window
Oh, the
framed in a way that actually looks like an artwork.
I was
would
gonna.
say.
I literally was thinking this is like a painting, like right there. It's so beautiful.
Okay, so now we are in this relaxing area.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. Look at this window. It looks like again another painting. And then here we see this.
Yeah. What's
mirror
What's
with-
with the mirror, which is not facing us whatsoever?
Yeah, with this very special angle. Dali designed it this way because in front of the mirror on the upper part, we've got his bed.
Oh, okay.
And right now we are in the most eastern part of Spain. Dali wanted to be the first person in Spain to see the sunrise.
So he's like, I am the first one.
There we
Who's
go.
gonna see it every morning. I love it. Wow, this
Dali
really
and
opens
Galas-
up.
Yeah, it's wide and big.
Yeah, it's huge.
Here we see the two beds. The one on the left, that was Dali's bed. In fact, that bed is facing that mirror.
Oh, yeah, now I get it. You can see that direct line from that mirror. Yeah.
Correct. So now we are going to see his final workshop,
Oh my goodness.
which is
Okay, so window everywhere now.
frame windows. It looks like
Oh, it's
a
beautiful.
painting once again.
Yeah.
Lots of light. He needed this light,
Oh,
right?
yeah, there's tons of light.
In order to paint.
Yeah.
And you actually see the original brushes, the original
Oh, man.
oils that he used, the stereoscopic glasses that he would use in order to alter reality. He loved optical illusions, play with reality, etc. And then we see this kind of like strange shape that
Almost looks like a cloud. I don't know.
a cloud, a pumpkin. People see different things,
Yeah.
but what it actually represents, according to Dali, is an atom. Yeah?
Okay, now I see that. Got
Dali
it.
was fascinated of all the atomic theories, the nuclear theories, the explosion of the atomic bomb touched him very much. So he starts to develop this artistic style that he called nuclear mystic, inspired by the atomic theories.
Seems like he was always trying to keep in touch with like what's coming. You know, wanted to be ahead of the
Correct.
curve.
Just like a Renaissance artist, I would say, he was very interested in many fields, and one of these fields was science and
yeah.
new discoveries. So he would follow them very close by, and he would introduce them to his art. Yes, actually,
yeah.
we see this reflected in many of his works.
Man, the light is just beautiful. Wow, there's just little passages everywhere. Oh, there he is. There's the Michelin guy. Okay, he's there.
Yeah, it's a kind of a surrealist space.
All right, you got to tell me about this. So, what inspired this sitting area over here?
That area over there, it is, I would say, the pop art area.
Isn't it though? Yeah, the pop art area.
He's using advertising images
Yeah.
to create this kind of like sitting. Him and Gala would sit there every now and then to greet and receive people. And we see his very famous lip sofa.
Oh yeah.
And in here we see this destroyed piano.
Just right piano, right?
Like, we can see this in a video. Actually, the piano ended up in the sea. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I
He was
remember this
pushing
video.
the
Right.
piano, and it ended up in the sea. And there was this piano player still playing
Still
the piano.
playing as it went out. I remember this. So he put it back in here. That's cool.
And
So-
then we see up above us this ceiling made out of glass. He also designed this, and he would have people on it, walking on it, so he would have this special perspective,
wow.
that he liked to paint. On top of the pigeon house, we see his very famous egg.
Oh yeah, you can't miss it. You see it coming up. Yeah.
Eggs everywhere.
Eggs everywhere. That's right. Wow. So interesting. Love the piano. As I'm traveling around Spain, it's absolutely amazing to see where creativity has come from. right? In the past, from Dali to Joan Miro to Gaudi, but to really understand, I mean, to really see where creativity is heading, we went all the way to Madrid because you got to see the work of Okuda, which actually, believe it or not, is right behind me.
At the headquarters of Inca Movement, I talked to Alejandra Chrysler and co-founder of Inca Movement, Oscar Sanz, to take a look at how they are setting the pace for modern Spanish art.
The space here is beautiful. So walk me around this area. What are we doing here at Inca Movement?
This is Inca Movement headquarters in Madrid, from where we develop cultural projects and we manage the career of several artists. Our more well-known artist is Okuda. This Okuda's studio as well.
Sacamos el nombre, Ayam. Ayam es por un lado el ego del artista, es el yo soy, es lo que siempre hemos hecho en la calle, que es poner nuestra estampa en muchos sitios, pero al mismo tiempo es el acrónimo de Inca Movement, que es la tinta y el movimiento. Cuando se desplaza, cuando se mueve, se genera el arte, ¿no? Nosotros empezamos este proyecto, empezamos esta locura porque entendíamos que había que profesionalizar lo que llevábamos años haciendo, que era apoyar la escena del graffiti, de los artistas que hacían su obra en la calle, y entendíamos que el paso siguiente era llevar eso al mundo del arte.
What is about it that he loves working with other artists?
This is an excuse to meet other artists and and to work together with people that he doesn't know, and it always brings magical moments. It's very beautiful how the artists, even that they have completely different styles, they can just find a point in the middle where they just make something great and beautiful.
That's what a great collaboration. I love it.
Yes.
But I see in his early work, like there's definitely some influence with Dali.
Los grandes referentes de Okuda tiene Dalí. Dalí significa o representa mucho lo que también Okuda, desde nuestra humilde posición, es una forma de vida completa, una libertad, una forma de entender la creación.
I know one of his I personally love is the church. They call it like skate, almost like an église or a basilica, but he's painted the whole thing, which then reminds me of really Gaudi, and you go into La Sagrada Familia and the panes of glass and all the color.
The church, for all of us, it was like not the start of his career, but more the internationalization of Okuda.
Yeah.
People from all over the world, they come out to see it.
Oh, I bet.
But he has done other churches around the world. He has done one in Morocco. You have also in Denver, you have the International Church of Cannabis. He uses a lot of animals in his artworks. As you can see, you have an elephant. You also have a zebra, as well as you have a lion. And then you can play with the bodies. A full lion or the zebra, lion, elephant.
So colorful.
Yeah, exactly. Like all his work, very positive and full of energy.
It seems like a lot of your artists in here work with really bright colors. Do you feel like that's something that's very Spanish?
The thing is that Okuda, he uses color, but there is much more to read behind his artworks.
Happening in Spain is neat to see. Where do you see creativity going in Spain? Where is it heading?
Me gusta hacer siempre las cosas con un out of the box, una forma diferente, de una forma como muy consciente y muy consensuada, pero diferente a lo que se establece. Y ahí, por eso surge Inca Movement, por la necesidad de evolucionar en nuestra profesión, en nuestro trabajo, en nuestro sueño, y por eso terminamos teniendo lo que a día de hoy es y lo que entendemos que va a ir creciendo más y más, y esperamos, ¿no? De la mano de Okuda y de la mano de otros artistas que van apareciendo en nuestro entorno.
There's so much to love about Spain. It delivers creativity, culture, and color unlike any other place in the world. And the red wine and Coke doesn't hurt either. Gaudi and Gali took the best of Spain and turned it into cutting-edge works of art. With Okuda following in their footsteps, it's clear that the secret sauce is still here. I'm eager to see where the next Spanish creative superstar will come from. and how they'll twist these elements to create something completely new.